Hey, AP Psych students, I want to welcome you guys to our fourth quarter online distance learning officially. We've been working together for the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks of the quarantine, and you guys have completed already 2 additional units, which makes me extremely proud, while other students have taken a break because of the necessary mandatory quarantine. You guys have continued to work, and I'm extremely proud of your mastery of new content. But for our officially distance learning for MCPS schools begins today. Today, April the 13th, begins that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the format or the medium where we'll meet. We'll still be using Engage. We've been using that for the entire semester so far, but parents, if you want to know how to get to that class, it's the URL engage.mcpss.com. Now, students are already enrolled in the course, but let's say that somehow your student gets kicked out. Maybe they get kicked out. The enrollment code is 5U5K7U. Parents do not need to join the class, but I would like for you parents to join Remind. You'll get notifications weekly or daily, how often I communicate to students, and it's usually daily. By texting at E62FBAG, text that content to the number 81010, and that will enroll you in the Remind course, and you'll get those Remind updates, which I think will be very important for you guys. You can also call and text directly at 251-610-0595, and you may communicate with me that way as well. Now let's talk about the lessons. We only have 2 units that remain. We were completing and covering content through the quarantine, and we only have 2 units left. Our next unit is personality and intelligence, and then we'll do a review unit together on research and biology, looking at neurons and looking at the brain, because that seems to be so heavy on the exam. We'll review those things in a second and final unit. So how will these lessons be formatted, and what do I expect of you? I want you to watch the video lecture like you have been doing, and then there may be like an activity for, let's say, a Google Doc or something to practice the content that's been covered in that lecture video. But the minor grade or the assessment portion of these lectures or lessons will come through a Nearpod. It's going to be formatted like the exams that you took for emotion and motivation and development, where you have multiple choice questions that you answer about the content that I've lectured on. Okay, these are going to be called progress checks, and when you believe that you understand the content that's been covered in the lecture video, then take the progress check multiple choice quiz. Well, for lack of a better term, we'll just call it a quiz. All of the progress checks for 1 unit will be averaged together for a minor grade. So your personality and intelligence progress checks will be averaged together to compute a minor grade. That will also be true for the research and biology unit that we review. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about major grades. That was 2 minor grades, personality and intelligence progress checks, and then the progress checks that you do for research and biology as we review that. Minor grades there, but what about major grades? At the end of the personality and intelligence unit, you will write an FRQ. Now, we're doing this because the AP exam has changed completely. I know this is not what we've been preparing for, but with the unique situation that we are now in with quarantine, it is what College Board has offered us for you guys to earn college credit. You no longer have any multiple choice questions. The AP exam does not consist of any multiple choice questions. It is only FRQs, 2 FRQs, and you will only have 45 minutes to compose answers for those 2 FRQs. And if you look here, it talks on the screen about the question type on the on the right side of the screen here, you see the question types, and there is a PDF up on your classroom. Actually, it's a Word document. It's a Word document that's up on the classroom that explains the exam and gives some information on the type of questions. Okay, so I will not administer the time restraints. I mentioned before that the actual FRQ that you will take on May the 19th, that's the date at 1 p.m., the actual FRQ that the College Board will administer, that FRQ will be timed at a total of 45 minutes. I am not going to administer time restraints on the FRQ that I give you, but I would suggest that you guys set a timer and write your FRQ within a timed frame so that you are practicing for the FRQ on May the 19th. I would suggest that you do that. Okay, so that's one major grade, the FRQ that you will write at the end of personality and intelligence. There is another major grade. Okay, this is something that's very new. The College Board is going to give to teachers your FRQs that you write on May the 19th. They're going to send those to us so that we can have another major assessment for students. So the grade, I'm going to look at those FRQs and grade those FRQs that you compose on May the 9th, and you will be given an additional major grade based on that, I misspoke, May the 19th assessment. That's Tuesday, May the 19th at 1 p.m. I'll be given those essays, and I will be able to grade them and give you guys another major grade based on the College Board essay that you write. And I'll go ahead and tell you now that you're going to have the freedom to type your FRQ or handwrite and send a picture of the handwritten FRQ. So we haven't been given detailed instructions quite yet about how you'll log in, but we do know the date and the time. So you need to be available May the 19th at 1 p.m. It is within a structured time frame, May the 19th at 1 p.m., so that you can log in, and that information will be coming to you, how to log in. And again, you can type the FRQ, or you can write the FRQ and upload a picture of your handwritten FRQ response. I will be getting your submission, and I will grade it, and it will be your last major grade for the quarter. Let's talk really quickly about originality of work. Okay, you guys are working from home now, and so you have available to you resources. The College Board is aware of this for the writing of the FRQ that you will compose on May the 19th, and of course I am aware of this. However, I want to caution you about using sources. You don't want to overuse sources because copying and pasting is plagiarism, and any form of plagiarism is going to result in a 0 that you've earned from me, and also a 0 that you will earn on that final assessment from the College Board. Now, that being said, they're aware that you have outside resources available to you, so it's fine during the exam to use notes. I would even say that it would be acceptable if you needed to Google something on another device. They're aware that you have those resources. However, you cannot plagiarize or copy and paste, and you are given a small time frame. You only have 45 minutes, so you can't waste that time on the AP exam. And remember that I will get your submissions, and I will grade those submissions within that 45, what you submitted to the College Board within that 45 minutes. That's what I'm going to grade and nothing else. Okay, so the county changed the grading policy. You guys were working for me over the last 3 weeks, and you've done wonderful with that. But the county changed the grading policy, and we're going to have to adapt to the new grading policy. They're on the 3-3-3 model, which means they're allowing teachers to cover 3 units, and for each of those units give 1 major grade and 1 minor grade, so a total of 6 grades. Here's how I'm going to modify and adapt the grades so that you guys get credit for what you have already done. For the motivation and emotion unit, you will get 1 major grade, and I'll explain the calculating of that in just a second. And then for the development unit, you will get 1 minor grade. And then for personality and testing, you'll have the 1 minor grade from the progress checks, the multiple choice progress checks. And then for personality and testing, you will have 1 major grade for the FRQ that you compose. And then we'll do that review unit on research and biology, and for the progress checks on that, you'll get 1 100-point minor grade. And then finally, for the big AP exam on May the 19th, the big essay that you write and submit to the College Board, whenever I receive those, I'll grade those and give you 1 final major grade for that. Okay, now let's talk about converting your grades. So for the motivation and emotion unit, it will go, as right now it was put in the gradebook as 3 separate grades. Your vocab was a 10% homework grade, your threaded discussions were 30-point portfolio grade, and then the test, that was a 60-point assessment. So here's the math behind how I'm going to calculate those grades to come up with 1 major grade for motivation and emotion and 1 minor grade for development. Let's say this student example here, Roseanne, she made a 96 out of 100 on her test. She made a 40 out of 40 on her vocab, goes in the 10% column, and a 40 out of 50 on her threads, that goes in the 30% column. 96 out of 100 converts to 96%. 96 times 0.6 equals 57.6. 40 out of 40 is 100%. 100 times 0.1 is 10. 40 out of 50 is 80%. 80 times 0.3 is 24. You add that 57.6, 10, and 24 together, and you get a 91.6. So for Roseanne and these grades, her 1 major grade for motivation and emotion will be a 96.1. Okay, the same pattern of calculating will be done. Same formula will be used to calculate the 1 minor grade for development. Guys, this is going to take me a little bit of time to do. I am closing out motivation and emotion and development, and there will be no alterations on grades at the close of business, 3 p.m. tomorrow, April the 14th. If there's anything that is undone, it will be left undone, and you will just have earned zeros for those. Now let's talk about the rest of the quarter and the calendar very quickly. Your Quarter 4 assignments, the new assignments will be available to you Wednesday, April the 15th. We'll start with lessons, lecture videos, assignments, and progress checks on April the 15th. And that will go through, that unit will be open until April the 24th. I'll put up the FRQ probably on the 22nd, and that will give you 3 days to kind of make some time in your schedule to look at the FRQ and write that, compose it. You're going to compose your FRQ in a Word document and upload that in a Dropbox. That's something that we're pretty familiar with doing. On the 27th, I'll put up the first lesson, or the first series of lessons for research and biology review. This is just going to be, we're mostly going to review research and biology, but I'll throw in some lecture and cover some content that maybe we skimmed over, but this is just going to be for review. So the 27th through the 8th, we'll be working on review, and then starting on the 11th, we're going to practice FRQs virtually. So I'll be in touch with you guys. We'll be communicating daily, and if you have questions, you know that you can reach out to me. Message me through Ramon, or message me at 251-610-0595. I look forward to hearing from you guys.